Either some people might allude to fact or try to deny that the government is guilty for causing autism in people from giving people immunization shots. Somehow, if they maybe they overdo it with some people by the body weight of the child, but people might want to argue that the government did not take responsibility for it, and I'll have to argue with you and say that yes, they did, because they said, well, if it does, it outweighs the risks of having people exposed to being autistic or being permanently damaged. And what some people's perspective would be, I'm not so positively sure that people cannot be like healed. If people can't be healed completely, that's that's tragic. But I have my own personal story, and I know that for my own personal story with the effects of from autism, that that is what I can see, and I can sympathize with other people and relate to people's parents saying that that's what caused it and that's what it is, and having all these other people argue with them that no, that it wasn't. But it really was, because every one of their stories are all the same, that the autism occurred, and the doctors even are there to testify to that the troubles with the people happened after these shots, after the immunizations occurred. So I'm looking at a couple of helpful hints. I'm not just here to attack a political party or whatever Hillary Clinton thinks she does and thinks she can get away with. Um, it's too bad that that's the way some people think. They only think of ways to belittle the world and put other people down and put them right in their place. So, short of calling her a jerk, I just want to look at what I've written down here. I've got a list of things. I've got things that I believe would be very helpful to autistic people. Would be foods and their diets. And I also wrote down that I think that people should ought to be looking at their own natural immunizations, to be able to take plant extracts or whatever you have to do to look at alternative medicine in particular, and use that for a scientific way breakthrough to figure out how to make a natural immunization. That would be through like using certain vegetables and fruits and stuff like that, and or plants, whatever works, right? So you're not putting people in jeopardy or risk with their health. You're actually only going to improve it. Um, the possibilities of killing people, I don't know how possible all this different stuff is. Um, could likely kill somebody if you try to do this on your own. So I always say consult with a doctor, even though I don't. I do not consult with a doctor on my own health, on my own regard. um, I'm just, I've done a lot of alternative practices, like I said, on my own, that I've researched and done on my own. Um, I'm satisfied to continue the endeavor. So, anyways, um, getting even with autistic people, I want to show why in this article real quick, and then we'll come back to um, how I believe that I can give you some helpful hints that are going to um, help get people hopefully um, better health in their life and their living, to improve it dramatically and get them on their way to um, feeling normal, at least. Even though I consider autistic people for the most part to be pretty normal, except they have a different way of looking at things or interpretation, and when it's explained, it's different, and they get very angry, volatilely angry, enough to really kind of make themselves look uh, really bad at times when they act up. So um, if there's it's a medical condition. So, anyways, here's what this Tea Party bulletin is saying. It's saying that um, she's gonna go after um, gun manufacturers and let victims' families sue them, and she's basically saying she's not willing to go after pharmaceutical companies for causing autism. I don't know exactly what the rate is, maybe like 1 in 100. So I wanted to skip that right away and break out of the negativity, and shoot straight to the positivity and explain that if they're not willing to let them sue, let's say that hypothetically the vaccination victims were allowed to sue. What are the certain resources and things that they would need appropriate to healing their condition? I believe that in education is important. Everybody needs to be able to have, maybe possibly if they're 1 out of 100, there's resources. I had resources like this. I had a tutor that came to my house and helped me, basically gave me the ability to eventually get my adult high school diploma, is what they did for me in Roseburg, Oregon. So the Roseburg High School had a lot a lot bearing on that, and they stuck their neck out for me tremendously. The Roseburg High School did when they really didn't have to, and they could have come up with ways to just tell me there's nothing that they could do for me, but yet they decided they were going to help improve my life. Anyway, so that I thank them for that, and I at least acknowledge I'm aware of that. So, anyways, I was saying like a lifetime of catching up. It's not necessarily a lifetime. It might actually, by the time that, because I looked at it like as in waking up. Like you had something wrong with you, you don't know why. It was a terrible experience. So, but I would put a 6 to 10 year span on being able to catch up, um, at least academically, with everybody else. So there's going to possibly be a little bit of time where you might possibly just be passing people through school like you would other people if you're not actually addressing the real issues that they are needing fundamentally. So, anyways, that's from my situation. I was 3 months old when they gave me an immunization shot. I would guess maybe it was a military type. Maybe it had a round circle and it had a bunch of dots all inside of it. So it would have probably more than likely have been the, the stamp type of military type of immunization when I was 3.5 months old again. And 6 to 10 years of catching up. You're in a daze, a haze, and you don't know what the hell to expect, where your life's gonna turn, what things are gonna project in front of you, if you're gonna You all croak in front of people. If they put you in front of the audience, you're just like, I'm gonna die. You have no idea. It's like anybody else, I guess, right? So if they were able to sue, what would they need anyway? So you could actually, instead of having them sue, you can do a class action bit on that with the health industry and the government. The government's into bailing people out, so I just see a substantial um, stamp tag of like Social Security disability on people that this happens to. And people don't want to explain what's going on because it's quite personal and they make it so, and you know, and they're poor. So, and not only that, but they have for a period of time, they have a fuzzy haze that there's some are saying again permanent damage, but I look at it as a significant part of your life might possibly be lost. Like there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way it is. But you can catch up, so it's not exactly like it's all lost for nothing. You still got to live your life, hopefully for the best. You had a lot of things good happen for you, not negative. So, anyways, I'm working on a situation for myself with alternative medicines. Um, I believe in marijuana, but I don't believe that people should ought to try it until they're about 25 years old. People are allowed to drink when they're 21, but I personally would, if I had children, I would suggest to them personally to please just think about doing what I asked and not drink or smoke weed until you're 25. That way, my kid would be completely developed and everything up to that point in time. And the only types of alternatives I would give to them would be um, extracts from vegetables and stuff like that. And I'm working on my own formula and plus a diet that I don't know if that is going to cure me, but um, I'm considering it being very, very helpful for me in my situation, what I've been through in part of all of that catching up and everything. So, what would be appropriate would just be what people would think they need to live. They don't necessarily need to not have resources because they are thrown underneath of a bus for having being put in that situation. Again, it's not their fault, but I still believe that there's alternative ways and means to healing everybody. I mean, up to whatever age you are. It's just what I thought, so I started kind of sort of working on it on a personal level. Was I'm trying to work on my own solution for my own pains. So that was the part that I didn't write down necessarily. They were talking about in this article here about it causing neurological damage. Well, I had a lot of neurological damage and have significant uh, medical, uh, history of my own personal self that has been documented of my neurological problems in particular. So I know how painful it can be. So it's just something I think like I put it in terms. Sometimes I say that it's from not stretching out enough or not taking care of myself enough. But I've been just catching on to also up to the good diets and the like healthy brain foods and stuff. So You want to function like everybody else. So you put everything all into perspective like that. But I'm coming from an alternative um, mindset where I even think that vaccinations, these vaccination shots can be um, basically help people be cured of anything through an alternative means and approach. So I'm not all too sure what they're putting in the vaccinations and stuff like that, but a three and a half month old child who was scheduled to go overseas to Okinawa ended up somehow all, you know, toasted. There's no telling what could have happened. I could have died or whatever, and I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining one bit. The only thing I'm looking at is to, you know, try to function the best that I can and to basically use my resources wisely, put in a position that way. But that's good because it keeps me focused on, my own gardens and stuff too that basically are very helpful also. So I just take a very mean, lean, alternative approach to that, and just think that there's more than one way, basically, to skin a cat. So this is to good health. I hope those people do have a win eventually, and I apologize for anybody that would want to mistreat anybody that was put in a position like that. I'm sorry.